Dan, what does the 150 games mean to you?
Yeah, it means a fair bit. It was a tough gig to play my first game, and then ever since then I've always wanted to play footy at this club and a lot of games, and to get to 150 is a huge achievement for me and something I'm really proud of, and I couldn't think of anything better to walk off with a win on the weekend.
Did you ever imagine you'd get to 150 after starting on the rookie list?
Nah, honestly, when I got drafted, the first thing was I just wanted to play one game, and then once I played one, and got a taste of it, I just wanted to keep playing, and definitely wasn't in my goals or in my sight, but to get here is a huge achievement for me from where I've come from, and I'm really proud of it.
I imagine it's going to take something pretty special to knock off what happened last time you played Essendon as the best moment of your career. How do you reflect on that, and is it kind of poignant that that's your 150th against them?
Yeah, I guess it's something that every kid dreams of, and I like to think in my career that there's better moments with this team going forward and in the future, and I'm excited to be a part of that hopefully and working towards that. And as I said, it's a childhood dream, and hopefully I don't have to do it again this weekend.
What are the challenges from coming off the rookie list? I guess if you come in as a high pick, there's this expectation, you get more patience. How much harder is it when no one really expects anything of you?
Yeah, I guess it's hard. You're always down the pecking order when you come in as a rookie listed player, and I definitely deserve to be a rookie. I'm not going to shy away from that. I had a lot to work on, but I felt like that was really good to have that challenge, and to not really think about playing, just to work on my footy, and I felt like I improved pretty rapidly in 1 year, and then was able to play some footy. So I think it was a good challenge for me, and then I've always tried to build each year.
And then your footy's gone to another stratosphere in the last couple of years, All Australian last year. What changed? Do you know when it really clicked for you, when you went from a good player to a great player?
Yeah, I think positionally I moved up the ground a little bit as more of a higher halfback, which helped. And Kenny and Nathan Bassett always pushed me to be that All-Australian type player and had that belief in me. And once I saw that I could string together some really high quality games, I had that belief in myself that I could. And last year I just sort of kept building, and it was a good year.
You mentioned a couple of those guiding forces, but is there particularly someone who has been an especially strong mentor for you, whether it be a player or coach or someone else here?
We've always had some really good mentors. Wearing number 5, Matty Broadbent mentored me as soon as I got to the club, and then after that I had Hamish Hartlett and Tom Jonas, who were really key leaders in our backline group, and Nathan Bassett coached me for pretty much my whole time down back, and he was huge and had lots of belief in me, and Kenny's always backed me in and been really supportive. So I guess there's a range of people. Can't put my finger on one, but they've all been really supportive of me.
How have you reviewed the game, and what any themes came out in particular?
Yeah, I think we felt like we dominated in a lot of areas, all bar getting the win. And we're in this area where we're trying to improve individually and as a team to get better and make sure we can win those games. And our focus this week has been on those little things and making sure we're getting better and improving. It is round 3, but we've learned some very valuable lessons.
Is it I just on Steve's point, is it sort of like, it felt like a final just watching it? Is that still the work on for you guys, and do you acknowledge that sort of will remain the question mark until you can win those big games, even when you are dominant?
Yeah, well, I think when you look at the game, we put ourselves in really good positions, and there was probably a few goals or a few moments where we probably cost ourselves a little bit, and we look at the back of those moments and how we can improve them, and a lot of people put their hand up and said they can get better in a certain area to help the team, and that's what we looked at.
As a fellow member of the back line, you had a great game, but do you give Asava any grief, or do you just...
No, when we looked at it, we actually said he did really well to get back onto the goal line from where he came from, and then just didn't execute it. And we can live with that if he gets there, and it's just an execution problem. So, we'll get around him as we always do, and I'm sure he wouldn't let it happen again.
Horn Francis, how did he look like he was moving pretty freely?
Yeah, he got through training, which is a huge tick, especially coming off a hamstring, and I think there was one where he sort of blitzed through the middle a little bit, so he looks like he's moving really well. He still needs to get through captain's run, but I assume he'll be a chance on Friday.
Is he sort of been the forgotten man? I mean, he had such a great pre-season, but hasn't really had the hamstrings getting him out for a bit now. How big a boost would he be on Friday?
Yeah, I thought he started really positively, put together a nice game against West Coast, and he'd be a huge boost coming in on Friday night, and as he always is, he can hit the scoreboard and provide a little bit of physicality around the footy.
How's Ollie's doing? He was sat out of most of main training.
Yeah, he pulled up a bit sore, and with a 6-day break, he just sat out of training and did some running, so hopefully he can get up for Friday too.
the learnings from that game, can you train those pressure moments, or is it more that you need to talk about them, and then it's more when you encounter them in an actual match down the future that you can really learn and grow from them?
Yeah, I don't think you can emulate the pressure of a game. It's really hard to do that at training, but what you can do is, train scenarios, which we do a lot of time. We do little red time plays, so shutting down a game in quarters and stuff, which we can always work on.
How have you seen Mitch Georgiades sort of handle the fact that he's been out of side the first couple of weeks? Obviously, you would have found him, played on him in defence a little bit and that sort of thing in training. So, do you feel like he's knocking down the door for a chance soon?
I think he's confident in his own body, which is a huge tick coming back from an ACL. And you see across the board, it's a long-term thing. You don't want to rush them back from these sort of injuries. So it's good that he's got the confidence, and I'm sure they'll be careful putting him back, because obviously, there's a long-term goal with Mitch. He's still a young player, and he's got to sign a new deal. So I'm sure they want to see him playing some good footy soon and not rushing back too quickly.
Did you have a hip or something on Saturday night? Looked like you were carrying on a bit on the bench.
Carrying on, probably. That sounds like me. I had a little bit of hip and corky, but that's pretty stock. Just general soreness, general awareness.
Do you embrace the gather around theme? Obviously, it's your milestone, but is there a little bit of extra pep in your step, knowing that everyone's here and everyone's sort of looking at you guys on Friday night?
Yeah, definitely. I think it's a really good opportunity to play in front of some other fans too from across Australia. And we're glad we got a Friday night slot on Gather Round, and it's really good for our state to be able to show what Adelaide Oval's made of with the Port crowd too.
It might be a similar atmosphere to that of Saturday night as well, with that final slight type atmosphere. Is that another good chance to sort of rectify what happened against the Deg? Yeah,
definitely. I think as long as we can put ourselves in good positions in those big games, I'm sure we'll bounce back. In those high pressure moments.
Cool. I just want to ask one, sorry guys. Just reflecting on your journey, Dan, just from coming from, as Mon mentioned, the rookie list to now being in the leadership group, what does that kind of mean to you when you look back at that over the last sort of 8 years?
Yeah, I guess for me, going into the leadership group shows a lot of faith from the coaches and the players that they respect you as a person and look up to you, and it's put a little bit of added responsibility on me to make sure that my training standards are really high and my performance is really high, and I've loved that added pressure, and I'm looking forward to taking the next step with this group and achieving something special.